Doom and games like it are pretty cool, but I've always thought they're missing something. Portals. So today I'm gonna fix that and add portals and non-Euclidean geometry to my Doom-style 3D engine that look like this, and this. So I think the first thing to get clarified is, what exactly do I mean when I talk about portals and non-Euclidean geometry? Because if you remember back to my last video, I talked quite a bit about portals. Portals. To draw portals, portal drawing. Portals that I mentioned earlier, portals that are actually going to have something to do with gameplay. Those sorts of portals are not what I'm talking about today. When I said all of that, I was actually referring to the way that the 3D levels are drawn and the specifics of the software render. And now I mean these kinds of portals. As I said before, portals that are actually going to have something to do with gameplay. Let's take a look at how our 3D software render works from last time and try to get it to draw these sorts of portals that have something to do with gameplay. Starting from the beginning and taking a look in the map editor I wrote in the last video, we have a level defined by a 2D map made up of walls which can have up to 2 sides, and then we have sectors on top of that which are any closed collection of sides. You can see me highlighting them here. Wherever one wall has 2 sides which are both transparent, we call this a portal. That is, a portal through which one sector can see another sector. To render levels like this, we just take all the sides in the current sector, draw them according to their orientation and distance to the camera, and then add any sectors which those sides had as portals into our queue of sectors to draw, and repeat this process until there are no more visible sides to draw. This skims over some of the finer details, of course, but if you want those, you can check out the first video. The important thing right now is that all of this is done in a software renderer, meaning that we're manually writing all of these pixels into memory without the help of any fancy graphics API. With that in mind, how do we get the gameplay types of portals to work? Well, let's start by defining our problem and the criteria for a solution. I want to be able to walk through a wall in one spot and come out at another spot in the level seamlessly. I also want to have the effect look convincing at the same time, kinda like, well, Portal. Let's try to get that implemented in our software render. Since it's already portal based, an intuitive solution is just, well, instead of having a transparent side say, hey, when you hit me, render the sector behind me, like this, we can just tell it to render another sector. This very well drawn diagram should kind of explain what I mean. With this in mind, I programmed in a quick connect tool into the level editor to easily make portals between different sides. You can see their color changes to pink as well. Let's connect up a couple sides and give this a try. And yeah, this is just giving us holes in the level because the position of the level geometry is incorrect. To refer to another expert level diagram and put it simply, this doesn't work because the other sector is over here, not here, and just connecting the 2 sides doesn't move the level geometry itself or change its position relative to the camera. Lucky for us though, we only need to apply a simple transformation to the level geometry in order to get things to look right. To transform any point as though it's being looked at through a set of portals given an entry and an exit side, all we need to do is subtract the point's position relative to the entry side, rotate the point by the relative angle between the 2 portals, and translate the point again to be relative to the exit side. You can visualize it as doing this to the sector geometry behind the portal. So we just take that point transform function and apply it to everything that the portal tries to render, including recursive portals. Well, there we go. With really minimal changes to the software renderer, this kinda just works. We don't need to worry about depth, overdraw, or anything of the sort. You can see from the slower visualization of the software renderer that this lends itself really well to the way the software renderer implicitly keeps track of which vertical columns have already been drawn by keeping track of the shrinking horizontal windows of space behind each side. To get movement working with these simple portals, it's a very similar story. As we're trying to move between 2 portals, if we hit the side of one portal, we just need to translate the exit position according to those functions we defined earlier. Additionally, the camera gets rotated by the same angle, and the velocity, as it's a direction vector, is also rotated but not translated. You can see here in code how this ends up working out and being applied to objects which hit portals. And this is how it looks in practice. The effect ends up being seamless because there are no clipping planes to deal with like there would be in a real 3D renderer. And as expected, we can walk between these 2 portals we've made infinitely and always end up in the same room. So with this working, what all can we do now? Well, some pretty non-Euclidean things. How about a square room with 3 corners? This one doesn't look that confusing until you start trying to count the corners as you move and thinking about where the player actually should be in the square as it moves. So how about something that makes even less sense? Let's try an infinite hallway. This one ends up being a little more obviously nonsensical, especially when you can walk in the same direction for 10 minutes and always end up in the same spot. And when I was working on the software render to add portals, it also got some more updates, namely the infamous viz planes from Doom. That is, instead of drawing horizontal floor and ceiling planes vertically, we now draw them in horizontal strips of pixels to play more nicely with the CPU cache. This is a video I posted to my Twitter to demo the change. I also added the ability to draw portals on decals, which did take a lot of work, but the understanding is pretty intuitive, I think, if you just take a look at the rendering visualization. Basically, these yellow pixels here are a special color which denotes that they're a part of the portalable area and can be drawn over when the portal sector is drawn. And then as I was thinking about adding particles, floor and ceiling decals, and struggling to add doors, I had a realization. I need to scrap this whole software renderer thing if I want to ship a game before I'm 40. Sure, I could pretty quickly ship an exclusively Doom-like game, but when trying to add more things that would end up being pretty important for gameplay, I realized that spending my time on the software render, especially debugging it, wasn't really helping my ultimate pursuit of making a game. And also I don't think anybody wants to play a game with Y sharing in 2023, so... Hey, and welcome back to Game Development. In today's video, we're going to be trashing all of the code from the last video in the first half of this video and re-implementing it with a real 3D graphics API so I don't go insane from debugging a software renderer. Let's get started. Jokes aside, as I get the world-famous starting triangle up and running in the background, let me explain a bit. For the re-implementation, I'll be using the fantastic Sokol library as my 3D API of choice, as I had a really good time using it for the game jam I did a few weeks back, and I think it's better to target something more cross-platform than say just bare metal OpenGL or something like that as I've done in previous projects. Also, it compiles platform-independent shaders into C headers with type info, which is just beautiful. So with our window set up, triangle drawing, immediate mode UI functional, I worked out making the triangle spin, then making the camera spin, then giving us control of the camera, and I encountered the first problem with the 3Dification of this whole thing: triangles. See, the old renderer used a bunch of hacks and wall ordering rules to allow for the drawing of non-convex sectors, that is, sectors with inner angles greater than 180 degrees, to allow for maximal freedom in level design with minimal pre-processing and notably no BSPing step like Doom had. And that's all well and good, but now we're talking with the graphics card to draw things, and as you all know, it only speaks in triangle, and we don't have any of those. So after a lot of reading of complicated math and some failed attempts at rolling my own triangulation code, I decided that the best bet was what I've come to refer to as the ancient rite of code necromancy. See, back in the day, that is 25 years ago, implementations of OpenGL used to ship with this library, called the OpenGL Utility Library, or GLU, which had a bunch of really useful functions for, well, 3D computer graphics stuff. Of interest to us, though, is the GLU tests or glue tests header, which includes routines for transforming a sequence of lines into a set of triangles. Exactly what we want, and conveniently no OpenGL specifics involved, so we can use it really easily with Sokol. So after yoinking the code from a kind soul who archived an implementation of GLU on GitHub, we now have access to these ancient GLU functions and can begin to explore their mysteries. And by explore their mysteries, I mean feed the code a bunch of lines picking up each sector and get a triangulated shape back. Nice. This can of course easily be used to make a 3D mesh, which will eventually make up our sector, floor, and ceiling. So fast forwarding through the boring parts of re-implementing the renderer, changing the entire code style of the project, trimming a bunch of dead code, and generally getting things ready for the gameplay coming soon now that I had a coherent design behind the game, though we can briefly appreciate this rather horrifying visual I got as I was testing things out. What was this video about again? Oh, right, portals. Yeah, take a look at this. With our now fully 3D test level here, which we'll give a quick flyover to get a nice overview, we have two spots where portals are supposed to be. You can see in the 2D level editor there here, notice the pink normals from our connect tool. Well, in the 3D version now, we've just got blank space. So how are we going to do this again now that we're out of our software render? Well, you may say, let's just do the same thing we did with the software renderer. Just draw all of the geometry relative to the exit portal. And while that might work for some simple cases, this will quickly fall apart without the same automatic culling mechanisms which exist in the software renderer, and even with the current relatively simple level layout, there would be a bunch of overlapping geometry that would bork things pretty bad. What can we do since the approach from the software renderer won't work? Well, there are a few different possible approaches, but we're going to use the stencil buffer, which is basically an extra frame buffer like the color or depth buffer, which stores an 8-bit value for each pixel, which we can manipulate and then use to mask out certain parts of the scene. Basically telling some pixels to only draw when the stencil buffer has a specific value. Take a look at this example from learnopengl.com for a good visual idea about how this works. You can imagine how something like this might be useful for portals. If we say knew exactly where we want to draw a portal, we could paint a specific value into the stencil buffer there, and then tell all the geometry we're drawing from the portal's perspective to only draw if it had the same value as the stenciled portal. But this is only one part of the solution. When we're drawing the sector behind each portal from the portal's perspective, how do we compute a camera that makes things look right? Something that does, well, this, like we had in the software renderer. Thinking about our three camera matrices, the model matrix, the view matrix, and the projection matrix, we can start with the view matrix by basically applying the same code we used in our software renderer to transform points between portals, but this time to an entire matrix. But the principle of translating relative to the entry portal, rotating by the difference, and then translating by the exit portal remains the same. This isn't the entire fix though, as if we just try this, then we still have some clipping errors to deal with when the camera moves a little further away from our portals. To solve this problem, I performed another rite of necromancy on the OpenGL forums this time and found my way to this post referring to this paper, which shows how to compute an oblique near clipping plane, which will basically let us construct a portal camera that doesn't draw anything behind this line. You can visualize it in 2D like this. This fixes the clipping issues that we had and gives us our first round of working 3D portals. Also, please kindly ignore the fact that the level geometry changed and this fat debug output window over here. This took a little while to get working, as you might be able to tell. Anyway though, they are working portals, which is pretty cool. Though no walking through them yet. With that working though, what about seeing portals through portals? And seeing portals through those portals? And those portals? Let's block the whole thing out in pseudocode so I can explain how this all gets implemented. Starting from our render function here, where we draw the scene from the viewpoint of the camera. For each sector, we start by drawing each one of its portals. Using how the stencil buffer works, we draw each portal on screen and increment the values in the stencil buffer such that when we recursively call the drawing function, here, to draw that portal's perspective, the only pixels that get drawn are the stenciled ones. Those where we just incremented the stencil buffer with the portal geometry. After that, we decrement the stencil buffer where we've just drawn the portal and then paint the correct depth over it. And then once we're done with all of the portals in the current sector, we just draw regular sector geometry and move on to the next one and then up and out of the function. Though this could likely be optimized with a queue implementation instead of a recursive one, it's not broken right now and that's a problem for another time. In practice, taking a look at the real implementation, barring some more complicated looking C code, what's basically happening is what's described in the pseudocode, with a bunch of extra culling techniques, scissor rex, and magic OpenGL abuse which Sokol might not be too happy about. But it works, and we can see portals through portals. Also kindly ignore the reskin of the level, it took me a while to fix those bugs, so a few changes of textures were in order along the way, I thought. Anyway though, with a port of the old movement code from the software rendered version and a lot of bug fixes involving various clipping planes and being able to find really funny angles where the portals wouldn't look right, I finally got everything working. And movement basically works the same, though now if the player is really close to a portal, they get pulled through it to the other side to prevent the near plane of the camera clipping through the portal plane. And the effect is small enough that you barely notice it even if you're looking for it, and not at all in regular movement. While fixing the movement code too, I was also able to find and fix about a million different ways to walk through walls and clip or just kind of vibrate your way out of the level. And well, that's portals, so let's take a moment to appreciate some non-Euclidean constructions in full 3D. First we have this one of an ominous black pillar which has some stairs behind it leading to the same room. Then we have your classic infinite stairs, very non-Euclidean, very confusing. And finally, 3 rooms all side by side, all different colors that can't fit in that space. I think this one is my favorite, though the effect is kind of a little too obvious to maybe use in actual gameplay, but we'll find out. So anyway, with the small task of portals done, we don't have a lot of time for gameplay this time around, but I'll leave you with this. After getting portals implemented, I added the first weapon of the game, a handgun. Get it? I took some beautiful pictures of my hand, cropped them down, pixelated them, palletized them, and animated them. At some point in this process as well, I added billboarded sprites, gave those a couple stress tests, and then tried to add particles to the handgun, which kind of ended up just looking like popcorn the first time I tried them. Then I got proper raycasting for shooting through the 3D levels working, meaning that the handgun could also shoot through portals. You can also appreciate that I got floor and ceiling decals working, and we have these bullet holes wherever we shoot too. This was initially tested with the old banana sprites. There's also sound now, if you can hear that. And please ignore the debug lines, but you know, gotta be sure that those bullets should go into the right spot. Also, not too long ago, I hacked together some hot code reloading for C, which has been pretty invaluable in debugging this entire thing because it means that I don't need to restart the application every time I tweak a tiny value. The map editor also got a lot of bug fixes and a whole lot of new tools, letting me design some pretty cool things which I'm very excited to use to design a real game. That will have to be next time though. Until then, if you want to see the source code for this project, or just like what I make and want to support it, go check out my Patreon and come join the Discord where I post regular progress updates on what I've been working on. Thanks to everyone already supporting me there too, especially those who have been my top supporters throughout these last few months, Coop, McHorse, and Danish Pirate. I'm really hoping that sooner rather than later I'll be able to get some playtests of something with actual gameplay out to everyone on my Patreon. Anyway though, until then, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.